Do you have questions why healthcare has gotten so expensive? Because I have some answers for you. Hi, I'm Tommy at medicalinsurancetoday.com. Forgive the up-close video of my mug. I do not have my video stand today, so I'm doing this one live. But I do have some honest answers as to cost benefits and what has driven the cost up, and there are a few bullet points that I want to cover. This is stemming from a number of clients looking at me straight in the eyes and saying, Tom, how has insurance gotten so dang expensive most recently? And the direct answer is the Affordable Care Act. Now, the Affordable Care Act has done some wonderful things for healthcare, and I'm going to contrast both sides here. But to get right to the roots, the Affordable Care Act has been the main driver of why these costs of plans, whether you're buying it on your own, whether you get it from a job, and what employers pay for those benefits, it is directly rooted to the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, even with the good things that it has done. So the first thing is to discuss, first bullet point is pre-existing conditions. No pre-existing conditions are considered when you get into a new health insurance policy, which means the insurance company is responsible to pay for any claims that come, regardless of any health condition you may have. So you could have end-of-life stage 4 cancer, you could have severe diabetes, any type of significant disease that costs the insurance company a large amount of money, they have to give you the policy. Where prior to 2014, when the Affordable Care Act went into force, policies could be declined. You could be told no to that policy and left without insurance in some cases. And hence pre-existing conditions mandated to be covered has driven cost up. Insurance companies have to cover those claims and they have to pay the bills, which drives cost up to us consumers. Next piece is what are called the 10 essential root benefits or 10 essential health benefits. Now, prior to the Affordable Care Act, certain policies could exclude benefits like maternity, for instance, or prescription coverage, or they could exclude certain types of diagnostic testing. Under the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, now there are mandated to be for any of these insurance companies to offer policies across the country and to be Affordable Care Act compliant. They have to include all of these root essential benefits in their policy, which drives cost up. Many people will remember the single 55-year-old man buying a health insurance policy prior to Obamacare. You know, he could elect to not have maternity in his policy. Then Obamacare came around and they said, well, why am I, a 55-year-old man, single man, buying a policy required to pay for maternity? And that's part of the root essential benefits. They cannot be augmented and benefits cannot be removed from policies, which has hence driven cost up. So by having to cover things within a policy has extended coverage and cost to us, the consumer, downline. It always trickles downline. And the last piece to measure is the HMO and PPO component. Prior to the Affordable Care Act, I almost exclusively sold PPO insurance. There were very few HMOs, and they didn't save you very much money when you bought into an HMO prior to the ACA. Now, almost everybody buys HMO because PPO has become somewhat of a luxury item. When I say luxury item, PPO means you don't need a primary care doctor, you don't need referrals for specialty care, and you just move freely within the network, which if you're sick is a real convenience. And up until 2020, I was a PPO person, and now looking at it, starting in 2020, went to an HMO, and it saves me literally close to $10,000 a year for my family of 4. On my HMO, I'm just short of $1,800 a month for my personal policy and my family. The PPO would be close to $2,700 a month. By my measuring stick, since the Affordable Care Act's inception, insurance has gone up 3 to 5x depending upon the policy, somewhere between 3 and 5 times. Now that's extreme. You know, when policies were $400 and $500, now they're $1,700 and $1,800 on an HMO, and they're $2,500 to $2,700 on the PPO for that same family of 4. As a contrast. So you can do the math. There aren't really excuses as to why they've gotten more expensive, but there are reasonable explanations. These insurance companies, the big bad insurance companies, to their defense, they are only allowed to profit through the Affordable Care Act 20% of their margin. So they're not raking in 100% profits on what they charge. They have to pay back 80% of their revenue in claims. They have to pay back in what they're paying out to claims and not necessarily enriching themselves, although they are making a ton of money hand over fist, no denying it, but they are limited in what their profitability can be. That 20% has to pay all employees and keeping the lights on and all of their expenditures internally. So again, not to their defense, but insurance is expensive and I don't know the fix for it. I hope that the government does not come in and take it over. However, it's more and more likely looking that at some point we're going to have to go to a Medicare for all type model, like Medicare is now for seniors, where you go and buy a supplement or an advantage plan. I believe that in the next 3 to 8 years, you'll probably see most of the market move that direction because everything has just gotten unaffordable. And it's a reality on the street. We talk to people every day. Most people are stomaching it because they see the value in having health insurance, but we talk to people regularly that do avoid buying health insurance because they just flat out can't afford it or don't see the value in it. But there is reasonable, definable reasons to why cost has gone up. If you are shopping new insurance, if you lost insurance recently from your job, or you're moving, or you've had a change in situation that would allow a qualified life event and you're shopping a new policy, please reach out to us. We have our finger on the pulse as to what is the most affordable coverage out there, and we can point you in that direction if you need help. Hablamos español en la oficina. We have Spanish speakers, bilingual Spanish speakers on staff full time. So if we can help you, please be in touch. MedicalInsuranceToday.com, and we look forward to serving you.